And that's what I mean. If you're living behind, even if you cannot quantify it, there is something that comes along. But I use the money thing because you can immediately see this is where I am. Let's say you're 30 years old and you're not making 45. Let's say you're 30 years old and you're making $30,000. That means you need to get up in the morning and start living life with a sense of urgency. You need to start running your life like you are losing, because you are. Running, you cannot walk. You cannot even speak well. You need to start running. And understand something. The first thing is you need to be working 60 plus hours a week. Let me say that again. If you're behind, you cannot just work 60 hours a week. You need to be working closer to 80. Yeah, that's right. That's right, dude. You need to lose some goddamn sleep and get out there and bust 2 full-time jobs to get your money up. Because until you get your money up, you cannot lead an adult male life. Not a happy one. You can live a ratchet one. You can date some lower caliber females, 2s, 3s, and 4s. You're going to have a life of ratchets and fast food. And honestly, good dudes, it is going to be impossible for you to do what you need to do to catch up. Because we talk about self-improvement. Here's where the rubber meets the road. You cannot hire a personal trainer, nutritionist, life coach, image consultant, any of these things because you don't make enough money. If you can barely pay your bills, you need another source of income. I've hammered this, but this is what you got to do. You got to start working. I already said, if you're 40 and under, single, no kids, and you're not working 60 hours plus a week, you're lazy. But if you're behind financially, you need to be working closer to 80. Yeah, that's 16-hour days. That means all you do is sleep and work, sleep and work, sleep and work. And let me tell you what this means. You need to go into overdrive. 0 excuses. No women. No dating. Jack off. No pussy chasing. No none of that. Put yourself in jail for at least a year to get your mind right. What the fuck you out here at the bar having a beer looking at the football game? Dude, you broke. You're only in these rooms and stuff and you're living a lie. That's why a lot of guys are depressed. So what you do is you kick life into overdrive and take the money, the additional money you make, and you need to double down on self-improvement. That means if you've been able to get by on your one job, the next job, you need to go get a psych eval, find out what's holding you back, get a life coach. If you're out of shape, overweight, all this other thing, get a personal trainer, take your second job and use it to start improving your life. Because when you start looking and liking who you see, you'll do better. Any CIA man who's on his purpose and know your pockets is on short. When we talk about, yeah, man, we're gonna go over to the spot and then we're gonna go have a couple of drinks, and you ain't got nothing but $20 in your pocket. And we say, okay, this round is on me, and you cannot buy a round. So if you've had to live a life of going to the bathroom when the round of drinks are bought, or even worse, you're not around people like that. It's always, I buy my stuff, you buy your stuff. Dude, you're dying on the inside every day because you don't go nowhere and do nothing because you don't want nobody to find out that you've been living below. That's real talk. You feel bad. So it's like, I'm going to just go to work and go home. But see, what you're doing is beating yourself up. What you're doing is you're living life in jail. Better to say, you know what? I'm going to go out and work. Because at least you'll get the sense of satisfaction of going to bed exhausted, but your money is coming in. You need to go into life overdrive. Overdrive on the self-improvement. 0 excuses. No women. 0. And then the highest levels of accountability. You need to confess too. You need to confess to your friends, I am a fuck up. Dude, I'm 35 years old and I'm still living life like a teenager. My wardrobe is like a teenager. My income is like a teenager. I date like I'm dating a teenager guy. Matter of fact, if I lost the job I have right now, there's no way I'd be able to go out and get another job making this much money because I have no skills. I've been living life like a teenage boy. And I'm going to tell you, I know dudes out there, good dudes. Men haven't worn a suit since high school. Don't own one. What's in your closet? Nothing. I'm like, how do you get to life? And it's not even just a matter of income. Some dudes actually make enough money to afford all these things, but they don't live a life like it. I'm like, so it's one thing to not have the money, but if you do have the money and your wardrobe and your appearance still looks like a boy, you're still a boy. You may have more money than the first guy, so you feel like, I'm better than that. Okay, but what are you doing in your life? If you're living a life to where you're not exposed to anything that you wouldn't have been exposed to as a teenage boy, Houston, we have a problem. You have to get really clear on what should let's just say a 30-year-old man. A 30-year-old man and a 21-year-old man should be living two different lives. The 21-year-old man needs to be out there chasing it. You know, I would expect the 18 to 21-year-old to be at spring break, college parties, drinking, chasing skirts, hitting the gym heavy, but at 30, I would expect that to be way out of your system. You still go out, but you're not going to the, coin beer night places. You're not going to the 18 and up clubs. You're at least going to the 25 and up clubs if you're still going out. But at 30, you should be out of that clubbing phase. You should be going to lounges and things like that, because you will be the old fucking man in the club. And at 35, this stuff should really be out of your system. At 40, the only time you end up going to a club like that I just referred to is if you happen to go back home for the holidays and you meet some friends out. 40-year-olds in the 21 and up club is a pervert. You're lame and a loser. So the highest levels of accountability, you're going to have to confess to some folks around you. I'm living life on foul. And this is why you're going to have to hire mentors, life coaches, and everything else. The question I really wanted to ask, are you competent enough to live your life as an adult? Oh shit, but I didn't want to put that in the chat room. The question I wanted to ask is, are you really competent enough to run your own life? Ask yourself a question. If you weren't you, because somebody say, are you really competent enough to be considered to be called a man? Let me say this again. Let's say you're a 40-year-old dude and you ain't never owned a suit. Never owned a suit. You got a job and you paying your bills, so that's cool. You're surviving. But life is not supposed to be surviving. Life is supposed to be thriving. You know why you avoid a mirror? Because you know you don't want to look yourself in the eye. See, men who are competitive and women who are beautiful have no problem being out there, because even if they lose the game, they still in it. So many guys today use this tag of introvert as an outright lie. I'm about to say it, and I don't mean no harm, but so many guys today are using the tag introvert where the tag loser would have been 20 years ago. That doesn't mean you're a Madden king. That means you're a bum. This means you're a loser. And here's what a loser was 20, 30 years ago. A guy who was just working a workaday gig. He'd come home after working in his one-bedroom apartment. He'd turn on the TV because there was no cable. He'd click on ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever he had, and watch whatever local programming was, may grab a beer, and he'd go put a Hungry Man or a Swanson's TV dinner in the oven. Or he'd go eat some shit like some sardines or some Vienna sausages and crackers. He'd eat, spaghetti week, SpaghettiOs, hot dogs. So he's eating. He's got his own place. He may have a car. It's not, it's older model, 10, 15 years, held together. It's not dirty, but it's, he ain't riding the way he want to. And then you look at this dude and ask him, dude, you're 35 years old. Is this where you thought you would be when you were a little boy? When you were 8 years old, did you think you'd be this? No, but that was we called those guys losers. And those guys knew they were losing. See, we got too many guys today who are losing and blaming it on everything else. Life is not meant to be survived. It's meant to be thrived. I said, I'm definitely not living life like I should be. Well, understand something. If you're not living life like you should be, then there's only one thing to do. You have to go into overdrive on self-improvement, and you're not qualified to do it yourself. Again, I don't mean to be rude. I'm not trying to be hurtful, but you're not competent enough to run this part of your life.